Today, you all are joining with the educational program organized by Faculty of Medical Sciences, University of Sri Lanka in collaboration with Nenasa. Here, our senior lecturer and head of the Department of Anatomy of Faculty of Medical Sciences, University of Sri Lanka, Dr. Varuni Tennakoon is joining with us. I warmly welcome you, Doctor. Today, we are ready to talk about the reproductive system. I think the most important system in human beings. So first, let's talk about the male reproductive system. So I would like to invite to describe the parts of the male reproductive system and the specific functions of each parts.
Right. As you said, it's a very important system that we have in our body. So let's see the male reproductive system, the parts and their functions. This is a model of the male reproductive system. So I will show you the parts of the male reproductive system. We will start with the testis. Now this is the scrotal sac where the testis is located. Now this is the testis, and you can see the epididymis here at the lateral side of the testis, and from the epididymis there's this vas deferens. This is a long tube, right? And the vas deferens, when it goes along, it is connected. There are ducts coming from seminal vesicles, and also this is the prostate gland. Now, in males only we see the prostate gland and the seminal vesicles. They have liquid secretions, so they are also secreting their fluid into this vas deferens. And vas deferens goes along like this and through the prostate gland. Right, now this vas deferens, as it comes and goes through the prostate gland, and then we call it a different name. This is also a common path for urine excretion as well, and this is called the urethra. So the sperms or the semen which comes from the testis and through the vas deferens, it also joins to the urethra in the male. So the urethra is the path that transmit both urine and seminal fluid. And it also has, the urethra also has several parts. It goes through the prostate gland. This is the prostate gland. It goes through it. That is the prostatic urethra. And then it goes through the penis. That is the penile urethra, and comes out from the glans penis. So that is mainly the structure of the male reproductive system. Now, if we talk about the functions, the main function or the very important function of the male reproductive system is to produce sperms. That is the male gamete. The male gametes or the spermatozoa, or we call it sperms, are produced in the seminiferous tubules of the testis. There are millions of sperms are produced in a cycle, and they are temporarily stored at the epididymis, and then when there's a need for ejaculation, the sperms travels through the vas deferens and then through the penile urethra. Now, when the sperms or the spermatic fluid travels through, as I said earlier, the seminal plasma and the prostate secretes milky and sticky secretions. Now, why they are secreted? They are used to give a nice medium, a fluidy medium to the sperms to swim, and they give nourishment, because sperms has to swim a long way to meet the female gamete. So they give this, they secrete these secretions, and it allows sperms to swim well and to have some nourishment. And then, as we know, the penis is a common organ for pathways for urine and sperm, and it is a copulative organ which can be inserted into the female vagina. So those are the male functions in the male reproductive system.
Okay, madam. Not only the male reproductive system, but also the female reproductive system too plays a prominent role in reproduction. So can you explain us how does the female reproductive system plays its role in reproduction?
Yes. Now, reproductive, first of all, we will have a look to see the organs of the female reproductive system. This is a model I have with me to show you the female reproductive system. Now, if you can see, we have an ovary here, right? So, we have two ovaries. This is only one side. This is a cut section, and this shows only one side. So, in a female, we have two ovaries. Right? They are located in the pelvic region, in the abdominal or the pelvic cavity. And we have this ovary, and very close to the ovary, you can see there's some reddish fimbriae-like structure. We call it, they are finger-like processes, we call it fimbriae, which is the continuation of the fallopian tube that you can see here. And the fallopian tubes open up to the uterus, right? And the uterus, if you can see, the uterus has a cavity, and there's a cervix, and also it joins with the vagina. This is the vaginal wall, and this is the opening of the vagina to the exterior. So that is basically the female reproductive system. Now, if we move on to the functions of the reproductive system, the parts of the reproductive system. Now, the ovary. The important function is that the production of ova or oocytes. Now, as you know, in a 28-day menstrual cycle, on the 14th day, the Graafian follicle ruptures and an oocyte is shoot out from the ovary into the abdominal cavity. And now that is the main function, the growth of the Graafian follicle, and ovulation is the main function of the ovary. But apart from that, it also secretes some hormones. And then the fimbriae and the fallopian tube. Now, the main function of the fallopian tube is that is the site where the fertilization happens. And the fimbriae, the end part of the fallopian tube, what do they do? They, when the oocyte is ovulated from the ovary, the fimbriae move around and pick up the oocyte, and it is sucked into the fallopian tube. The fallopian tube has in its wall, the lining epithelium has cilia. That is also some projections from cells, very tiny projections we call cilia. They always move towards one direction, that is the direction towards the uterus. So what happens when the oocyte, if it is fertilized, we call it an embryo, or otherwise if it is not, the oocyte, it moves towards the uterus. So that is the function of the fallopian tube. And then when you get the uterus is a muscular, very muscular, it's a hollow organ. It has a cavity. Why? Now, why it is muscular? Because it supports the growth of the baby. And also, uterus is where the embryo is implanted. So the uterine wall, the embryo gets implanted and the growth of the baby happens. And the uterine wall supports the weight of the baby. And also the uterus contains amniotic fluid. When the embryo grows up, it produces amniotic fluid. So the baby is floating in amniotic fluid, which is inside the uterus. And also uterus helps to direct the baby towards the vaginal canal or the birth canal when the birth happens. And you know the cervix, where the uterus and the vagina is joined. The cervix is also helpful in when the baby is born to direct the baby towards the vaginal canal. And also in a normal woman, the cervix has a cervical plug which is composed of mucus. So that acts as a natural barrier, because the vaginal canal is open to the exterior, the environment. So various kinds of germs and bacteria and other agents can go inside of the female body, but this cervical plug prevents all unnecessary agents coming into the uterine cavity. Then we get the vagina, the vaginal canal. So as you know, vaginal canal is the birth canal as well. And also it is the organ that receives the penis from the male. So that is, those are the functions of the female reproductive organs.
Yes, doctor. So producing a living human being is not an easy task at all. Even though thousands of sperms enter the female reproductive system, only one sperm could fertilize the oocyte. So can you explain how does this process happen?
Yes, that is an interesting story, and I of course believe that's a beautiful journey that a sperm can have in its life. Now what happens there is that millions of sperms are produced in the testes at a time, and the cycle is every 72 hours. Also, sperms are being produced in a male from the puberty of the male till that male person dies. And these sperms, what happens in ejaculation, travels through the vas deferens and coming to the penile urethra, and that ejaculate sperm with seminal fluid. That part is deposited into the vaginal wall of the female. And if you take a drop of seminal fluid, it has about 10 million sperms. So an ejaculate has millions, thousands of millions of sperms. But as you said, only one sperm fertilizes an oocyte. So it's fascinating. Why? Because all these sperms are not very good quality sperms, and all of them can't swim. The sperms, which has the power and the quality, can go through, can swim through, can break the barrier of the cervical plug and enter into the uterine cavity. And then they have two parts, two fallopian tubes, so they divide in two ways. But as you know, the female in a month only produce one egg from one side. So the sperms, which are lucky to have gone through that side, they swim, and some of the sperms in the midway, they lose their energy and will not be able to swim more distance. Some will dissolve in the uterine fluid. So only some sperm cells will travel through the fallopian tube And at the same time, if the couple wants to have a baby, or if they're expecting a pregnancy, if the ovary has ovulated an oocyte, a good quality oocyte, and the fimbriae has taken up the oocyte into the fallopian tube, then the sperms and the oocyte will meet at the ampullary region of the fallopian tube. The ampullary region is situated 1/3 from the far end of the fallopian tube, 1/3 from that end. There's this small area called ampullary region where the fertilization happens. So when these sperms meet the oocyte also has, it's so protective cell, a proud cell which has a cell wall. And the sperm still have some barriers to go across. And the only sperm which is first to break these barriers or the wall of the oocyte pierces the cytoplasm of the oocyte and enters inside the cytoplasm, and which releases its genetic material to the oocyte. And once a single sperm pierces this cytoplasm, the oocyte has its protective mechanism to close the wall, entering to other sperms. So that is why only one sperm, though there are thousands of millions of sperms are produced, and it's a cervical mechanism as well, because compared to the size of the sperm, the journey it should travel is a very long journey. So millions of sperms may die off to compensate that. That is why thousands of millions of sperms are produced to make sure that at least one sperm can go and fertilize the oocyte. So when the sperm is fertilized by the oocyte, we call it a zygote. So that is new life.
Well, we had a nice discussion, I guess, dear doctor. So I would like to thank our senior lecturer, Head of the Department of Anatomy, Faculty of Medical Sciences, University of Sri Lanka, Dr. Varuni Tennakan. Thank you so much, dear doctor.
Thank you.